Once upon a time, in a distant era shrouded in the mists of history, there resided a legendary blacksmith in a quaint village. This remarkable artisan was the proud proprietor of a modest store where he displayed and sold his exquisite, hand-forged ironware. One fateful day, destiny conspired to smile upon him as he clinched a momentous contract, a contract that would change the course of his life. In the midst of an unrelenting war that cast its shadow over the land, the blacksmith was presented with an extraordinary opportunity. He was bestowed the honor of crafting weapons for the kingdom of Cairo, a task that would not only bolster his reputation but also elevate his social standing. The intricately wrought blades and armor he meticulously created found their way to the hands of warriors, further fueling the flames of the relentless conflict. Following the cessation of hostilities, the blacksmith's dedication and contributions to the war effort did not go unnoticed. In recognition of his invaluable service to the kingdom, he was graced with a peerage, ascending to the position of a baron. This newfound nobility also came with the bestowing of land, a sprawling estate that would become a legacy for generations to come. Among those who would inherit his name was his son, a young man named Roman. The scene transitions to a more recent period in time, where we find Roman engaged in an unexpected pursuit, listening intently to the tales of an elderly. This deviation from Roman's usual comportment astonishes his loyal butler, a man who has long been acquainted with the young nobleman's disinterest in the world's affairs. Yet the narrative shifts once more to a crucial moment in Roman's life. Roman, in a moment of epiphany, discovers his true identity as the eldest son of the illustrious Dimitry family. Furthermore, he comes to terms with the fact that he resides in the kingdom of Cairo, located within the enigmatic Salamander continent. This revelation is accompanied by the unsettling realization that a realm known as Marin, a world Roman was familiar with, no longer exists. To his butler's amazement, Roman acknowledges these newfound truths, eliciting a suspicion that perhaps the young nobleman has turned to illicit substances, a popular vice among the privileged youth. As the revelation unfolds, the butler informs Roman about a significant event scheduled for the day, the arrival of his betrothed, a lady from the esteemed Lawrence family. In contrast to Roman's more accomplished siblings, he has spent the last quarter-century sequestered within the confines of his room, earning him the unenviable moniker of the moron of Dimitry. However, Roman's priorities seem to diverge from the social expectations associated with his noble lineage. To Roman, understanding the intricacies of navigating the current world takes precedence over formalities. This declaration leaves his butler bewildered, prompting him to question why Roman, who has lived within these environs for the entirety of his life, would entertain such notions. Undeterred by the enigma surrounding Roman's sudden change of heart, the butler remains steadfast in his duty to serve the young nobleman. Then we come to the present, where Roman is talking with the old man, and the old man have told Roman everything he knows. Roman thanks the old man and tells him that it was huge help, and he will reward him later for this. Old man tells Roman it's nothing, as it was an honor for him to even talk to Roman. Roman's introspective journey began as he grappled with his identity, questioning the very essence of his existence. Originally known as Baek Joong-Hyuk, a resident of Marin, he had led a tumultuous life filled with challenges. After fulfilling every life's mandate, he had embraced his inevitable demise. However, his existence took a sudden and bewildering twist, thrusting him into the unfamiliar persona of Roman Dimitry. Roman, now lost in the labyrinth of his thoughts, pondered whether this transformation was orchestrated by the divine, or if it was a form of divine punishment for rejecting ascension. Amid this existential contemplation, the tranquility of the moment was shattered by distant shouts that emanated from outside the walls of Roman's residence. Rushing to investigate, he discovered a scene that sent a chill down his spine. A red-haired man, a humble fruit vendor, was being mercilessly assaulted by 3 aggressors as a horrified crowd watched helplessly. The savagery of the attack was appalling, with the perpetrators showing no mercy. As panic rippled through the bystanders, in this dire moment, Roman's loyal butler, ever vigilant, stepped forward to assess the situation. His eyes widened in disbelief as he noticed a distinctive fang-shaped tattoo on the assailant's arm. Roman couldn't stand by idly. He stepped forward and inquired about the unfolding chaos. The butler informed Roman that these attackers were known as the Bloodfangs, a notorious usury group whose nefarious operations extended beyond the confines of the Dimitry territory. It appeared that the red-haired vendor had fallen victim to their ruthless extortion practices. As Roman's curiosity grew, he suddenly vanished from the butler's side, heading towards the assailants with an air of determination. He implored them to cease their brutality. The Bloodfangs, however, dismissed Roman's plea with contempt, asserting that nobility held no sway over their actions. The butler, concerned for his master's safety, admonished Roman not to meddle with these dangerous individuals. Roman, unwilling to let injustice prevail, turned to his butler, Hans, seeking a comprehensive explanation of the land's legal system and the consequences for those who transgressed it. Hans was taken aback by the request, as it was unconventional for someone of Roman status to engage in such matters. The revelation that the red-haired vendor had incurred a debt and was subjected to the Bloodfang's illicit enforcement left Roman with a sense of urgency. Moreover, Roman's status as the eldest son of the Dimitry family added a layer of complexity to the situation. Disrespect towards him constituted a grave offense, one that could potentially warrant capital punishment in accordance with the region's legal framework. The Bloodfangs, upon hearing this, exchanged uneasy glances as Roman declared their violation of the law. Roman's eyes flashed with determination as he grabbed a wooden stick, vowing to administer justice. The Bloodfangs, unimpressed and unyielding, prepared to confront Roman. They scoffed at his threats and reminded him of the tattoos that adorned their arms. Roman, unruffled, clarified that their ink symbols only served to brand them as lowlifes. The altercation escalated as Roman charged at the assailants, ready to take them to task. Roman's swift movements caught the Bloodfangs off guard. He deftly evaded their blows and with astonishing precision incapacitated the attackers with his makeshift weapon. Other Bloodfangs members attack Roman together, and one of them uses a dagger and tries to cut Roman, but Roman easily dodges one attack and takes the guy down easily. Hans, witnessing this unexpected display of prowess, was left astounded that Roman was indeed his master. In the midst of this chaos, Roman's thoughts drifted back to the moment he awoke in this unfamiliar body. Among the artifacts, a will penned by the old Roman and a scattered array of drugs on the floor formed the mosaic of his recent history. The document speaks of the kingdom of Kiro, frequently embroiled in war, and the practice of selecting representatives from each household to serve the kingdom. Roman Dimitry had been chosen as his family's representative to join the army, a responsibility he found too daunting to bear. In fear, he took his own life. The new Roman regards this previous life as a lamentable existence. Nevertheless, he has inherited the legacy of Baek Joong-Hyuk, the leader of the Heavenly Demon sect, and vows to live according to this new persona's principles. The narrative concludes with a scene of Roman, having dispensed justice to the assailants, standing alone amid the aftermath, his garments stained with their blood. As one of the Bloodfangs attempts to flee, Roman swiftly apprehends and dispatches him, casting a challenge to any who might oppose his judgment. The onlookers are left in stunned silence, their perceptions of the young nobleman forever altered by his unexpected display of valor. Baek Joong-Hyuk, once a name that reverberated throughout the world of Murim, had ascended to the pinnacle of power with unmatched martial prowess. Countless martial artists had dared to challenge him, only to meet a grim fate, massacred and obliterated without mercy. It was a time when the entire world acknowledged the dominance of the Heavenly Demon sect, a martial organization under Baek Joong-Hyuk's control, which held sway over the entire Murim realm. However, circumstances had taken an unexpected turn. Baek Joong-Hyuk, who had once wielded overwhelming power, now found himself confined within a fragile and feeble physical vessel. In his current state, he struggled even to subdue a mere group of street-level ruffians. This stark contrast between his former might and present frailty weighed heavily on his shoulders. Frustration etched on his face. Roman, the name by which he now went, summoned his loyal butler and instructed him to alert the guards. Roman demanded an investigation into the recent skirmish, emphasizing the urgency of the matter. The butler, visibly shaken, nodded in compliance and hastened to carry out his master's orders. While the wheels of justice were set in motion, Roman pondered the limitations of his current body. He lamented its lack of vitality and the erratic flow of ki, a vital energy in the world of Murim. With determination etched in his gaze, he resolved to expedite his quest for knowledge and, more crucially, the elusive process of skeletal modification, a pathway to greater power. As Roman contemplated his future, a red-haired man approached him, gratitude shining in his eyes. He expressed his heartfelt thanks to Roman for saving his life, to which Roman responded with uncharacteristic candor. He clarified that his intervention was not driven by benevolence, but rather a strict adherence to the rule of law. The Bloodfangs, the group Roman had confronted, had transgressed the boundaries of legality, and he had meted out punishment accordingly. Roman further informed the red-haired man that he was not exempt from scrutiny, urging him to provide a truthful account of the events that had transpired. The red-haired man, whose name was Kevin, agreed to share his story. He revealed that his parents had borrowed money from the Bloodfangs to acquire land for farming, with the intention of repaying the debt through the sale of their crops. However, the Bloodfangs had resorted to a malicious act of destroying their entire harvest, rendering it impossible for the family to meet their financial obligations. Kevin had since learned that this vile act was motivated by the syndicate's sinister intent to prey upon his younger sister. He emphasized the injustice of their situation, as his family had always lived modestly and refrained from causing harm to others. Kevin implored Roman to help rescue his sister from the clutches of the Bloodfangs. In that moment, as Roman gazed into Kevin's eyes, he sensed the presence of a latent demon, a memory from his past. The recollection stirred within him, and he asked for Kevin's name, curious to know more about the man before him. Kevin, his voice tinged with gratitude and vulnerability, introduced himself, initiating a connection that would likely have far-reaching consequences. Roman assured Kevin that he would verify the veracity of his account and ensure that justice prevailed. Grateful for Roman's intervention, Kevin expressed his heartfelt thanks. As Roman left the scene, he couldn't help but feel that this chance encounter with Kevin might lead to a long and meaningful relationship. The narrative transitions to a different setting, where a luxurious carriage advances along a well-trodden path. Inside the carriage, Lady Flora, the passenger, contemplates her recent turn of fate. Just a month ago, she had received the shocking news of an arranged marriage with the Dimitry family. Her father, bearing a grave countenance, had delivered the decree, explaining that their family's land faced imminent disaster, and this union was the sole avenue to navigate the impending crisis. Flora, initially taken aback by the suddenness of the arrangement, voiced her concerns about becoming a member of the Dimitry family. She expressed her dismay, citing the Dimitrys' mining background as a stark contrast to her own upbringing. Her father, weighed down by the circumstances, offered his apologies, acknowledging the arduous decision he had been compelled to make. Now, in the present moment, Lady Flora has arrived at the Dimitry territory, expecting to wed the second son of the family, who had shown promise and a bright future. However, her expectations crumble as she learns of an unforeseen twist. The eldest son of the Dimitry family, Roman Dimitry, asserts his claim to her hand in marriage. Roman, commonly known as the moron of the Dimitry family, is notorious for living a life of indulgence and luxury. As Flora walks alongside him, she resolves to confront him about the situation, determined to voice her refusal. Turning to face him, she implores Roman to reconsider the marriage. In response, Roman surprises her by stating that he has no qualms about canceling the engagement, an unexpected acquiescence. Stunned by this turn of events, Flora inquires about Roman's reasons. In a nonchalant manner, Roman confirms his readiness to annul the engagement. He clarifies that, as the purported moron of the Dimitry family, he possesses neither the ambition nor the desire to enter into a marriage with her. His disinterest leaves Flora bewildered, unable to comprehend the true motives behind Roman's actions. Prompted by Flora's persistence, Roman decides to inform his father of their mutual decision. Flora is shocked, and she tells him to stop. Roman asks her, "Is there any problem?" Flora tells Roman that she heard that this marriage happened because he really wanted to marry her, and now he is willing to cancel their marriage without any conditions, so she is a bit confused. Roman asks her does she wants to marry him then. She tells him no, not really. Roman tells her then let's not cause each other any more problem, so now we both agreed to cancel the marriage and that's all there is to it, and Roman tells her that he will take full responsibility for breaking the engagement. Flora is surprised hearing this. Roman tells her that he has already called the moron of the Dimitrys, so it's not a big problem to also be called a divorced man. Flora is shocked to hear this and doesn't get what Roman deal is, and she wonders if he is really that rumored moron Dimitri's elder son. As he enters his father's office and delivers the news of the broken engagement, his father's reaction is far from what Roman had anticipated. Faced with a surge of anger, Roman's father chastises him for jeopardizing an arrangement that held the potential to elevate the Dimitry family's standing as nobility. His father underscores the importance of the marriage and expresses his disappointment in Roman's inability to fulfill even this simple duty as the eldest son. Roman, unflinchingly resolute, tenders his apologies, but his father's fury shows no signs of abating. In a fit of rage, he hurls a cup in Roman's direction, the vessel narrowly missing its target, but drawing blood on his forehead. His father's reprimands continue, stressing that this marriage was intended to secure a better future for their family. In an act of genuine contrition, Roman beseeches his father for forgiveness, acknowledging the gravity of his actions. However, his father's response is unwavering. He reminds Roman that the engagement had offered an opportunity for Roman to marry a noblewoman of his choosing and thus fulfill his familial obligations. Instead, Roman's defiance has jeopardized his own future. Moreover, his father reveals knowledge of Roman's recent altercation with the Bloodfangs, an encounter that had reportedly ended in Roman's favor. Yet Roman's father dismisses the veracity of these claims, suspecting that someone else had intervened on his behalf. He underscores the magnitude of the problem, emphasizing that the Bloodfangs are a formidable group that even he, as the patriarch of the Dimitry family, cannot easily contend with. In a final admonition, Roman's father informs him that he will be conscripted for military service in 6 months. He turns to Roman, inquiring whether he has any response to these circumstances. Roman, unwavering and resolute, quietly conveys his acceptance of the impending conscription, offering no objections. With Roman's departure from his father's office, Flora rushes to confront him, anxious about the consequences of his actions. She admonishes him for provoking the Bloodfangs, a group notorious for their audacity in terrorizing even nobles. She urges Roman to confess the truth to his father and seek clemency from the Baron, fearing the retaliatory wrath of the syndicate. Roman, however, counters her pleas with a question. Why should he heed her advice? This unexpected response leaves Flora stunned and bewildered, as she grapples with the enigmatic character of the man before her. In the hours preceding the critical encounter between Roman and Lady Flora, the Dimitry estate buzzed with preparations. Roman found himself in the midst of a wardrobe adjustment, as his devoted butler, Hans, applied an excessive amount of perfume. Roman's discomfort was palpable as he lamented the tightness of his attire. However, Hans's insistence on perfection remained unwavering, as he emphasized the significance of this meeting with his fiancée, Lady Flora Lawrence. Roman's mind raced with thoughts of the ever-increasing complexity of his life in this world. This arranged marriage, an unexpected intrusion, appeared to be nothing more than an additional burden. Nevertheless, he recognized the imprudence of showing disrespect to a woman who had yet to bring any trouble into his life. Hans's gentle but unwavering insistence eventually led Roman to comply. Roman conceded that there was no reason to be disrespectful toward a woman who had not caused him any harm. After all, his primary goal was to terminate this engagement while causing minimal offense. This had been his initial plan. As the narrative transitions to the present, Roman finds himself engaged in confrontation with Lady Flora, a confrontation that reveals her perceived arrogance. Shocked by Roman's directness, Lady Flora listens as he explains his perspective. He conveys his understanding of her position, acknowledging that she might not have considered the full extent of his circumstances when he initially suggested breaking off the engagement. However, he highlights that she has no right to interfere with the decision he has now taken. Both of them are to part ways, tending to their own affairs. Flora is left speechless by the abruptness of this separation. Roman, on the other hand, reflects on his earlier declaration to take full responsibility for ending the engagement. He intended this assurance to preempt any subsequent discussions or complications related to the dissolution of their arrangement. Yet he also held a desire to distance himself from her. Roman believed that this would mark their final encounter, as he departed, leaving her to contemplate the turn of events. In a different setting, the narrative shifts to the palace. Roman Dimitry, the lord of the household, indulges in excess alcohol, an attempt to drown his worries. His wife observes his inebriation with concern and implores him to halt. In his inebriated state, Romero confides in his wife, recounting the physical discipline he had inflicted upon Roman during their earlier years as commoners. Romero divulges that, after becoming nobles, he had vowed to shield his children from the hardships they had endured. His wife acknowledges that this promise had successfully shaped their children's lives, including Roman. Yet he remains uncertain about how to treat Roman, the only child who had experienced those early struggles with him. His wife reassures him not to bear the weight of self-blame too heavily. While recognizing his imperfections as a parent, she emphasizes that they alone have the power to guide their children away from any misguided paths. She reminds him of the Roman Dimitry she knows, a father who would not allow his own son to stray into undesirable territory. The conversation then turns to the issue of the Bloodfangs, an organization Roman had recently confronted. Given Roman's prideful nature and his impulsive declaration that he would handle the Bloodfangs single-handedly, his mother voices concern about the consequences of leaving him without support. She suggests that they involve Captain Jonathan, a skilled figure who might be able to aid Roman in addressing the issue. Convinced by his wife's wisdom, Romero promptly instructs a servant to summon Captain Jonathan. Considering Roman's well-being as a priority and the uncertainty surrounding his recent actions against the Bloodfangs, the narrative then returns to the present, with Roman strolling through the town. Hans, his loyal butler, expresses concern for Roman's safety, advising him against venturing outside. The looming threat of a potential Bloodfang retaliation prompts Hans to urge Roman's return to the safety of the palace. Roman questions Hans about when the Bloodfangs had accumulated their newfound strength, to which Hans can only offer uncertainty. Roman contemplates the peculiar dynamics of the Bloodfangs, an organization that gained notoriety by brutally eliminating their adversaries, particularly those engaged in reprehensible deeds. Their reputation had bred fear, which in turn enhanced their operational efficiency. Roman acknowledges the enduring danger posed by the Bloodfangs, but emphasizes that as long as they inspire fear, they remain manageable. Undeterred, Roman and Hans enter a restaurant, where they place an order for a substantial meal. Hans is visibly delighted at the prospect of indulging in the delectable spread. After making himself comfortable, Roman informs Hans that he can remain and enjoy the meal, as he intends to continue his investigation alone. This revelation momentarily surprises Hans, who had expected to accompany Roman. In a twist of events, Hans stops Roman, expressing his unwillingness to let his young master go into potential danger unaccompanied. This unexpected display of loyalty and resolve takes Roman by surprise, and he commends Hans for his unwavering dedication. Roman offers his parting words, and as he leaves the restaurant, Hans remains behind, having already made the decision to contact the soldiers and inform them of the situation. Roman, meanwhile, strolls through the streets with a deliberate intent to draw the Bloodfangs toward him. Roman's calculated strategy aims to lead the Bloodfangs to him. He knows that they have likely discerned his presence and location. Additionally, the day corresponds with the regular training of the Dimitry Knights, resulting in decreased street security. This presents an opportune moment for the Bloodfangs to exact their revenge. As Roman ventures through the town, deliberately leaving a trail to be followed, he finds himself suddenly ambushed by an assailant. In the dimly lit grounds of the Grand Estate, Hans, the butler, approached Captain Jonathan with an urgency that mirrored the gravity of the news he bore. Young Master Roman, the seemingly frail scion of the house, had ventured into the city alone, forsaking any protective entourage, on a daring mission to confront the notorious Bloodfang group. Captain Jonathan, a seasoned leader with a penchant for strategic wit, and his loyal soldier regarded this revelation with a mixture of amusement and incredulity. Young Roman, known as the weakest of the house, willingly embroiling himself with the notorious Bloodfang. Laughter erupted from both captain and soldier, echoing within the hallowed halls as they questioned the butler's credibility. Undeterred by the skepticism, Hans stood his ground, insisting vehemently that Roman spoke the truth. Why would the young master lie about such a perilous endeavor? This assertion hung in the air like an unanswered riddle, prompting the captain to delve deeper into the enigma that now unfolded before him. Captain Jonathan's contemplative gaze drifted into the shadows of suspicion. He speculated that Roman's father, the patriarch of the house, might have delivered a forewarning about his son's perilous confrontation with the Bloodfang. A silent plea for assistance, a clandestine call to arms. Imagining the paternal concern that might have spurred this decision, Jonathan resolved to aid Roman and solve the enigma that now enveloped the young master. Despite his musings, the captain couldn't fathom why Roman, lacking the skills of a seasoned warrior, would willingly thrust himself into such a dangerous mission. A sense of urgency gripped Jonathan, prompting him to issue swift commands to his soldiers. The clatter of weapons being readied filled the air as he instructed Hans to guide them to the location of young Master Roman. Assurances flowed from Jonathan's lips like a shield, promising Hans that as long as they were present, the Bloodfang wouldn't dare lay a finger on Roman. Yet beneath the veneer of confidence, Jonathan harbored a nagging thought. If Hans's information held any truth, the need to locate Roman quickly became paramount. The narrative pendulum swung back to Roman, now immersed in a face-off with two vengeful bandits seeking retribution for their fallen comrade. Swift as a shadow, Roman dodged the attacks of the first assailant, bringing him down with a calculated grace. The second bandit, fueled by rage, lunged forward only to meet the force of Roman's counterattack, a powerful kick to the stomach that left him crumpled on the floor. Amidst the chaos, Michael, Roman's steadfast companion, emerged on the scene. The defeated bandit pleaded for mercy, urging Roman not to deliver the final blow. Unyielding, Roman reminded the bandit of the lives he had already extinguished and brandished a knife, threatening to inflict further pain unless the bandit divulged information. In a voice laced with determination, Roman sought the identity of the Bloodfang's leader. The narrative threads then wove into the fabric of a bustling restaurant, where Roman, as enigmatic as ever, approached the counter. The man behind the counter recognized him, curiosity etched across his features. Roman, in his cryptic manner, uttered the words "Tear of the Dawn" from the 20s. The bald guy, a patron in the establishment, interjected, revealing the absence of such a drink in their repertoire. Unfazed, Roman accepted an alternative, requesting a strong drink with the explanation that he had early morning plans, a statement that stirred interest among the bar's patrons. A seamless transition transported the narrative to the bandit who had directed Roman to this particular bar. He unraveled the intricacies of the establishment, detailing the missions assigned through a special code. Intrigued, Roman sought to decode this clandestine language, learning that the code involved mentioning "Tear of the Dawn," something strong, and work in the morning, all in a specific sequence. The tapestry of events returned to the pub, where Roman, seated calmly, faced the sudden aggression of the bald guy, who unsheathed his sword, signaling an imminent attack. With the grace of a seasoned warrior, Roman swiftly neutralized the bald guy, then turned his attention to the charging members of the bar. In a display of unparalleled skill, he dispatched them with ease, leaving the remaining patrons in awe. The realization dawned upon them that Roman was not the feeble figure they had anticipated. The narrative momentarily diverged to delve into the concept of Murim, a martial arts technique that harnessed strength through controlled breathing. Roman, referred to as the Heavenly Demon, had undergone rigorous martial arts training, though he acknowledged that he had not yet reached his zenith. The onlookers, witnessing his extraordinary prowess, were left stunned by the revelation of his hidden abilities. As additional assailants approached Roman, he dismissed them as mere nuisances, effortlessly thwarting their attempts. The bald guy, regaining consciousness, questioned Roman's motives. Uninterested in providing explanations, Roman pointed out that they had initiated the attack, and now only he and the bald guy stood amidst the aftermath. Roman expressed his intent to pose some questions to the bald guy and led him away for a private conversation. In this moment of tension and revelation, soldiers under the command of Captain Jonathan stormed into the bar, met with a scene of chaos orchestrated by Roman. The tumultuous atmosphere left them shocked and bewildered. Another soldier relayed information from a survivor on the second floor, unveiling the destination of young Master Roman, Lawrence. Jonathan's surprise mingled with confusion as he pondered the reason behind Roman's choice of location. The soldier added that the survivor mentioned Lawrence as the primary stronghold of the Blood Fang. In the ebbing shadows of a clandestine encounter, the narrative unfolds with a clandestine air, transporting us to a pivotal moment that transpired just an hour ago. Roman, a figure cloaked in mystery, finds himself in the company of a bald man, his fingers lost to some ominous past. The air is thick with tension as the bald man, tethered to the dark underbelly of the Blood Fang, remains resolute in his silence. A palpable sense of despair permeates the scene as the bald man implores Roman to end his life, a desperate plea born out of the looming threat of the Blood Fang's vengeance. Yet Roman, with a cryptic smile playing on his lips, admires the bald man's stoicism. There's an unexpected affinity that sparks within Roman, an appreciation for those who endure unspeakable torment without succumbing to the temptation of divulging secrets, those unafraid to stare death in the face. There's a peculiar fondness in Roman's voice, an acknowledgement of the strength he perceives in those who remain tight-lipped amidst torture. It is a testament to Roman's understanding that beneath the veneer of suffering lies the potential for harboring the most valuable of secrets. In an intriguing shift, Roman's attention is drawn to something unseen by the naked eye. A flicker in his gaze betrays the emergence of a plan, a method to test the bald man's resolve further. Roman, with a calculated ease, picks up a photograph. With a deliberate tone, he informs the bald man of his intent to locate and kill the young figure captured within the frame, purportedly the bald man's son. A seismic shock ripples through the bald man, his features contorting with disbelief and dread. Yet in a striking display of defiance, he vehemently denies any familial ties to the innocent face frozen in the photograph. Roman, undeterred, accuses the bald man of falsehoods, insisting that the boy's likeness to the captive is too uncanny to dismiss. Tempers flare as the bald man, angered by Roman's audacity, questions the nobility of one resorting to threats against a family. Roman, however, unfurls a chilling revelation, an insight into the Blood Fang's sinister workings. He peels back the layers of the criminal organization, exposing a modus operandi that turns seemingly ordinary individuals into devilish pawns. Roman delves into the organization's tactics, illustrating how Blood Fang coerces individuals into servitude, pushing them to the precipice of morality. The bald man, however, remains unyielding, steadfast in his belief that the truth won't alter the course of the Blood Fang's retribution. Undeterred, Roman advises the bald man to choose carefully where he places his allegiances, hinting at the high stakes of their ominous game. In a haunting oath, Roman solemnly swears to carry out his earlier threat, a pledge to seek out and end the life of the bald man's son. Yet before the final curtain falls, Roman extends an unexpected olive branch. He gives the bald man a chance, a fleeting opportunity to save his kin. The choice is left dangling in the air, a macabre dance between silence and salvation. As the narrative pivots, we are transported to a different setting, a house where a subordinate relays a tale of Roman's unprecedented feat. An entire division vanquished by the hand of one who was once rejected from the prestigious Royal Swordsman Academy. The shockwaves reverberate through the boss, who, incredulous, seeks Roman's current whereabouts. The revelation that Roman has departed the Dimitry region, armed with information extracted from the morning dew. The bald man enrages the boss. Roman's audacious assault on their headquarters, seemingly a solo endeavor, ignites a fury within the boss. Determined to eradicate this perceived threat, the boss commands a gathering of forces, vowing to eliminate Roman before the formidable Dimitry knights intervene. Simultaneously, the stage transitions to the Lawrence family's palace, a bastion of power and intrigue. The family, displeased with the decisions of the Barco family, engages in a tense discussion about the brewing storm of war. Whispers of substantial loans from the Gold Bank and the ominous preparation for an impending conflict cast a shadow over the once stable Lawrence territory. Flora's father, a patriarch burdened by the weight of impending doom, contemplates the unforeseen turn of events. The central government's unexpected alignment with the Barcos jeopardizes Lawrence's hold on their fertile soil. Amidst fervent debates, an elder statesman urges the family to cling to their territory at all costs, knowing that the survival of Lawrence hinges on the richness of their soil. In a strategic move, Flora's father reveals a glimmer of hope, a marriage alliance with the Dimitry family. The prospect of the Dimitrys' support, their wealth and influence, sparks a flicker of optimism among the Lawrence family members. Their joy is palpable, a momentary respite from the encroaching darkness. Yet, as joy blooms, a cloud of uncertainty descends upon Flora. Outside the door, she grapples with a secret that threatens to unravel the delicate tapestry of alliances, the broken engagement with the Dimitrys. Filled with trepidation, she contemplates the impending revelation to her father, a confession that might fracture the familial unity. In a moment of vulnerability, a soldier emerges, disrupting Flora's internal turmoil. An emergency, a word that shatters the fragile peace within the Lawrence palace, propels the narrative forward. The scene transitions to the border, where Captain Jonathan and his soldiers plead with the Lawrence guards to open the door, citing Roman's imminent danger. A standoff ensues, the Lawrence soldiers unwavering in their demand for protocol. Yet, a revelation of chaos in the Lawrence Plaza prompts Captain Jonathan to escalate his plea. The tension crescendos, setting the stage for a potential breach, all while the fate of Roman Dimitry hangs in the balance. In a riveting twist, the narrative shifts to the Lawrence Central Plaza, a theater of shock and disbelief. Roman emerges, dragging the leader of the Bloodfang, a visual testament to the sinister connection between the criminal organization and the impending war. In the muted hues of dusk, the narrative unfolds, traversing back in time to the clandestine heart of the Bloodfang's lair. The shadows dance with anticipation as the malevolent assembly of the Bloodfang readies itself for the impending confrontation with Roman. Weapons glint ominously, a symphony of danger echoing in the air. The leader, shrouded in overconfidence, believes that the sheer numbers of his faction guarantee victory. Yet, in a sudden twist of fate, fear grips the leader's core, a visceral terror that eclipses his bravado. The scene unravels, revealing Roman's handiwork, every member of the Bloodfang incapacitated, a testament to the enigma that is Roman. His figure emerges, a silhouette against the chaos he has sown, and he strides purposefully towards the quivering leader. Panic engulfs the Bloodfang's commander, who, confronted with the stark reality of his imminent demise, recoils in terror. The narrative seamlessly transitions to the present, the streets serving as the stage for Roman's relentless pursuit of justice. The Bloodfang leader, now at the mercy of Roman's iron will, pleads for his life in a desperate crescendo. Roman, an embodiment of stoicism, remains impervious to the pleas, dragging the blood-soaked figure into the public eye. As the leader begs for mercy, promising servitude in exchange for his life, Roman's refusal reverberates through the onlookers. The streets bear witness to the clash of morality, the executioner and the condemned entangled in a macabre dance. Roman's foot descends with a resounding stomp, a grim finality that echoes through the horrified crowd. The public spectacle unfolds, and Roman seizes the opportunity to lay bare the sins of the Bloodfang. His voice, a clarion call, exposes the organization's malevolence, its tendrils reaching even into the sanctum of the Dimitry family. Roman, unmasking the Bloodfang's treachery against his kin, paints a vivid picture of their nefarious methods, the twisted path that turns ordinary souls into pawns of darkness. The crowd, captive to the unfolding drama, grapples with the shock of revelations. Roman's declaration echoes, condemning the Bloodfang's atrocities and laying bare the gravity of their crimes. A chilling resolve lingers in the air as Roman pronounces his intent to extract the evil from the Bloodfang's leader in the most visceral manner. The execution plays out, a grim tableau that etches itself into the collective memory of the witnesses. Roman's blade becomes an instrument of retribution, severing the ties that bind the Bloodfang to its insidious leader. Captain Jonathan, arriving on the scene, is caught in the undertow of shock, his gaze transfixed upon the brutal spectacle unfolding before him. The narrative pivots to the hallowed halls of Lawrence's seat of power, a meeting room steeped in tension and disquiet. The Lawrence family, blindsided by the revelation of Roman's unorthodox intervention, grapples with the ramifications of his audacious act. Flora's father, the Baron, stands at the epicenter of the storm, a visage of disbelief etched upon his countenance. The members of the Lawrence family, privy to the unsettling news, express concern over the gravity of Roman's actions. The specter of unauthorized murder looms, an offense that demands attention. Yet Flora's father, a complex tapestry of emotions, is torn between the need for justice and a begrudging acknowledgement of the Bloodfang's malevolence. In a decisive moment, Flora's father resolves to summon Roman, seeking clarity from the orchestrator of this unforeseen upheaval. The door creaks open, heralding Roman's entrance into the chamber. The presence of Captain Jonathan at Roman's side serves as a testament to the collaborative efforts that transpired in the pursuit of justice. Roman, stoic and resolute, greets the Baron with a nod, a subtle acknowledgement of the complex dynamics at play. Flora's father, not one to mince words, implores Roman to unravel the enigma behind his violent foray into Lawrence territory. The air thickens with tension as the fate of alliances and engagements teeters on the precipice. The narrative unfurls another layer as the scene shifts outside the room, where Flora, unaware of the storm brewing within, seeks answers from a soldier. Her inquiry, tinged with curiosity, revolves around the enigmatic figure who had just entered her father's office, Roman Dimitry. The soldier, bearing witness to the unfolding drama, cryptically hints at a revelation that awaits Flora. Back within the confines of the meeting room, Roman begins to recount the genesis of his intervention. The tale weaves through the fabric of days past, an odyssey that commenced with the Bloodfang's assault on an innocent citizen. a catalyst for Roman's decisive action. The recollection unfolds like a somber ballad, each note resonating with a sense of duty and moral imperative. Flora's father, a mixture of incredulity and concern, presses Roman on the authority that sanctioned his intervention. Roman, with a measured gaze, acknowledges the lack of explicit authority, laying bare the skepticism he harbored regarding Lawrence's proactive stance against the Blood Fang. A ripple of discontent courses through the Lawrence nobles, while Captain Jonathan, once a confidant of Roman's, grapples with the transformation of the man before him. Roman's revelation casts a shadow on the apathy of Lawrence's response to the Blood Fang's menace. The nobles, indignant at Roman's audacity, question the propriety of his unilateral action. Yet Flora's father, a shrewd tactician, contemplates the essence of Roman's gambit, a move born out of necessity, a stark reminder of Lawrence's failure to curb the Blood Fang's influence. As Roman faces the scrutiny of Lawrence's nobility, a surprising twist unfolds, the Baron's pragmatic admission that he was unaware of Ben Miles' true identity. The revelation shifts the dynamics, forcing the nobles to confront the reality that the Blood Fang's leader had operated under the guise of criminal notoriety within Lawrence's jurisdiction. In a masterful stroke, Flora's father diffuses the tension, declaring the case closed and absolving Roman of immediate consequences. The calculated move is a testament to the Baron's political acumen, recognizing the potential benefits of aligning with a figure capable of decisive action. Roman, unyielding in his convictions, stands his ground. The meeting concludes with a promise of future rewards for Roman, a gesture that hints at a nuanced understanding of the value he brings to the Lawrence alliance. Outside the meeting room, the Baron instructs his servant to summon Flora, anticipating a pivotal moment of revelation. The wheels of fate turn, and Flora, blissfully unaware, is beckoned to meet her father, a meeting that promises to reshape the contours of her future. The narrative threads intertwine as Roman, Jonathan, and their retinue return to the Dimitry territory. Captain Jonathan, unable to reconcile the metamorphosis of the once familiar Roman, confronts him about the provocative confrontation with the Baron. Roman, enigmatic and calculated, unveils the rationale behind his actions, the perception of Lawrence's negligence, and the need for decisive intervention. Jonathan, stunned by Roman's foresight, grapples with the realization that the man before him has evolved into a strategic architect, a far cry from the Roman Dimitry of yesteryears. The chasm between expectation and reality widens, and Jonathan, like the Lawrence nobles, struggles to comprehend. In the tapestry of celestial lineage, Joong-Hyuk Baek emerged as an enigmatic figure, the son of the Heavenly Demon whose destiny unfolded in the crucible of a pit, a place where the cold, hard ground bore witness to his struggle for survival. His father, the celestial patriarch, cast him into this desolate abyss, an arduous proving ground meant to extract from Jong the essence of his worth. A chilling proclamation echoed through the pit as Jong's father, indifferent to the plight of his 12 children, declared that Jong's death held no significance. To the Heavenly Demon, progeny were expendable, mere numbers to be replenished without remorse. The celestial patriarch, a harbinger of divine indifference, conveyed a solemn directive to Jong, a mandate to ascend to power, to reign over the pit's inhabitants, and thereby to prove himself worthy in the eyes of his father. Yet destiny took an unexpected turn in the form of a punch. A fellow child, misguided by the allure of Jong's celestial lineage, unleashed a physical blow that shattered the illusion of divine privilege. In the eyes of this child, Jong was not a figure of reverence but an arrogant brat. A violent confrontation ensued, unraveling a childhood marked by brutality in a world where only the strongest held sway. The assailant, unimpressed by Jong's celestial pedigree, delivered a swift blow to his chin, sending him sprawling to the unforgiving ground. Jong, undeterred, attempted to retaliate, but his efforts were in vain as the child deftly dodged his attacks and retaliated with a forceful blow to Jong's chin. The pit became a battleground, witnesses to the primal spectacle of a celestial hare brought low by the harsh realities of survival. Childhood unfolded amidst the pit's desolation, where other children were shielded by the protective embrace of their parents. Jong, however, was an anomaly. Thrown away in a world where only the strongest reigned, his struggles, etched in the scars on his body, told a tale of resilience and primal determination. The narrative then transcended time, shifting to the opulence of Dimitri's palace in the present. Here, Jong had metamorphosed into Roman, a figure of power and complexity. In the solitude of his chamber, Roman immersed himself in a bath, feeling the weariness of his new body that tired easily. The echoes of an awakening in a world dominated by the enigmatic Blood Fang resonated within him. Roman reflected on the choices he had made, choices that led him to annihilate everything obstructing his path in the pursuit of the Blood Fang. His convictions remained unshaken. He had not wavered in becoming the person he was. In his past life, he had been a force to be reckoned with, slicing and torturing those who obstructed him, utilizing any means necessary against those with killing intent. The bath became a vessel for Roman's contemplation, a moment of introspection amid the suds and warmth. The danger of his previous encounters with the blood fang loomed over him, prompting caution. He acknowledged that he had not fully grasped the intricacies of this new world, and that his true strength had waned compared to his previous life as Joong-Hyuk Baek. As Roman pondered his next move, a servant interrupted his thoughts with news of a summons from his father, the lord of Dimitry's palace. Roman acknowledged the call, promising to be there shortly. The scene then shifted to the opulent confines of Roman Dimity's office, where incredulity hung heavy in the air. Jonathan, an astute observer, noted the profound transformation in the young master. Roman's father, Baron Romero, confronted the anomaly of his son, and the current young master is not the same person they used to know before. Roman's father tells Jonathan that Roman is his sore thumb, as he is the only one of his sons who doesn't have anything impressive about him, and he is also the only child that went through the time when Roman's father was a commoner. A poignant flashback unfurled, revealing Roman's father as a commoner toiling in a mine. Young Roman's innocent visit marked by a simple offering of candy, as young Roman wanted his father to finish his work quickly so they can go home together, which is why Roman's father wished Roman to be happy. And this is also the reason he favored Roman and also gave Roman a lot of allowance so he wouldn't be made fun of for being poor. Yet the unintended consequences unfolded as Roman veered down a path of deviation. Roman's father, recognizing the divergence in his son, had already resigned a part of himself to the belief that Roman was beyond redemption. However, news of Roman single-handedly dismantling the blood fang rekindled a flicker of hope, prompting a resurgence of paternal optimism. Roman emerged from his chamber, greeted by his father, who beckoned him inside. The paternal proclamation echoed through the corridors, an unwavering declaration that regardless of the means Roman employed against the blood fang, his father stood ready to do anything for him. In the office, Roman stood before his father, who had heard of his solo triumph against the blood fang. As Roman pondered whether to reveal the truth, his father's eyes burned with hope. Baron Romero had high expectations for what Roman was about to say. The tension in the room, thick with anticipation, hung on Roman's next words. Roman thinks that his father will see him in a totally new light if he told him the truth, but also achievements that exceed expectations come back to bite him. And so if Roman back off right now, he could earn some time for himself to grow. Roman wonders if he should tell the truth or hide it. The narrative then unfurled a tapestry of contrasts, transitioning to the past where Jong and his former self endured a merciless beating by a child. The echoes of the pit resounded as Jong, battered and bruised, seized a rock. In a surge of primal determination, he retaliated, taking down his assailant with brutal force. The kid falls to the ground, covering his face in fear. Jong gets back on his feet and brutally punches the man with a rock in his hand, ending his life. Onlookers are shocked by this violent act. Jong proudly declares to everyone in the cave that he has defeated the boss, establishing himself, Joong-Hyuk Baek, as the dominant force. The scene then shifts to the present, where Roman confesses to his father that he was the one who took down the blood fang. As Roman was Joong-Hyuk Baek in his previous life who doesn't know how to hide his superiority. The Dimitry's Territory Training Center stood as a bastion of martial development, where the echoes of clashing swords and the fervent hum of disciplined training filled the air. In this crucible of aspiring knights, Baron Dimitry, accompanied by his trusted advisor Jonathan and enigmatic son Roman, made a grand entrance. The sight of the Baron, Jonathan, and Roman walking in prompted all the students and their instructors to stand in line, extending a collective welcome that resonated with awe and respect. Among the sea of aspiring knights, a brown-haired observer's attention was drawn to Roman's unexpected presence. The silent question lingered in his mind. What was Roman doing here, in the heart of the training center? The mystery deepened as the trio of Baron Dimitry, Jonathan, and Roman took their places within the vast expanse of the training facility. The anticipation peaked as Jonathan, assuming the role of a herald, addressed the gathered students. A ripple of curiosity swept through the onlookers as they learned of the day's main event. A swordsmanship duel featuring none other than the young master Roman. Jonathan, with a commanding presence, opened the floor to the students, inviting them to step forward if they wished to participate. However, to the bewilderment of the brown-haired observer and the entire assembly, a profound silence followed. No eager participant emerged to accept the challenge. Perplexed, the brown-haired individual couldn't fathom the hesitation, pondering who would willingly engage in a duel with Roman. The unspoken sentiment of the crowd seemed to echo his sentiments, doubt and reluctance. The narrative then took a temporal leap, rewinding an hour earlier to a pivotal moment when Roman revealed a startling truth to his father, Baron Romero. In a private exchange, Roman disclosed that he had taken down Blood Fang, a notorious organization, by himself. The shock on Baron Romero's face was palpable as he sought details about Roman's audacious feat. Roman, aware of the need to tread carefully in his response, explained that he had been clandestinely training his swordsmanship skills. Baron Romero, puzzled by the secrecy, questioned why Roman had concealed this endeavor. Roman's revelation unraveled a desire for independence, a longing to escape the cocoon of pampering that surrounded him. Roman expressed that he had spent too long wandering alone and sought to demonstrate that even the perceived fool of the Dimitry family could achieve greatness independently. The conversation pivoted to the core of Roman's revelation, the defeat of Bloodfang. Roman elucidated that the organization, born from illegal loans and sustained through threats and coercion, could crumble if its leader were vanquished. Baron Romero, shocked by Roman's audacity in baiting the Bloodfang leader, Ben Miles, with false information, reprimanded his son for the perceived recklessness of his actions. The discourse explored the calculated risk Roman had taken, utilizing himself as bait. Roman argued that the group, bound by threats and pressure, wouldn't risk their lives to save their leader in a situation where they could regain their freedom. Despite Baron Romero's initial anger, he found himself impressed by Roman's careful planning, decision-making, and the courage to execute the plan. This newfound respect prompted a unique favor from the Baron. He expressed a dying wish to witness Roman's transformed swordsmanship firsthand, eager to see the extent of his son's evolution. Returning to the present, a solemn atmosphere prevailed as it became evident that no one among the aspiring knights was willing to step forward and face Roman in the impending duel. The brown-haired observer contemplated the scenario, concluding that the potential participants saw little to gain in challenging Roman, and the consequences of a loss loomed large. Jonathan, faced with the challenge of an unresponsive crowd, took it upon himself to select a worthy opponent for Roman. His gaze fell upon the brown-haired observer, and with a determined resolve, he called upon Chris, the vice-captain of the Dimitry Knights, to step forward and engage in a duel with Roman. The revelation of Chris as the chosen opponent stirred shock in the atmosphere. The narrative then delved into the past a year ago when Chris first encountered Roman. Reports had surfaced of a disturbance in a restaurant, where a drunkard, causing a ruckus, turned out to be Roman Dimitry. Chris, tasked with restoring order, intervened only to be slapped by Roman. In that moment, Chris realized the stark truth. Roman had never trained, possessing the strength of a below-average adult man. The revelation left Chris incredulous, unable to reconcile the image of the pathetic individual before him with the status of the Lord's son. Returning to the present, the shock of being chosen for a duel against someone he had once considered trash lingered in Chris' expression. Despite his reluctance, Jonathan insisted that Chris, as vice-captain and witness to Roman's confrontation with Bloodfang, was the rightful candidate for a fair match. Attempting to dissuade Jonathan, Chris conveyed his hesitations about facing Roman. However, Jonathan, armed with the knowledge of Roman's exploits against Bloodfang, asserted that Chris' participation was essential for a fair match. Chris, still grappling with preconceived notions about Roman's abilities, half-heartedly accepted the duel. As Roman and Chris faced each other in the arena, the tension reached its zenith. Jonathan, on the brink of initiating the duel, faced an unexpected request from Chris. He expressed a condition, one that reflected the intensity of his training and the gravity of the impending clash. Chris insisted that any duel involving swords should be treated as a real battle, devoid of mercy. He conveyed his unwavering commitment to this principle, regardless of who his opponent was. Jonathan, standing at the crossroads of decision, looked towards Baron Romero, who, in turn, fixed his gaze upon Roman. The air crackled with anticipation. Roman, seemingly unperturbed, responded with a smile. The unexpected display of confidence from Roman left Chris in a state of shock, challenging his assumptions about the Lord's son. The stage was set for a duel that transcended the physical realm. Within the hallowed grounds of the Dimitri's Territory Training Center, anticipation hung thick in the air. The clash between Roman and Chris, the vice-captain of the Dimitry Knights, promised to be a spectacle that would etch itself into the annals of the Dimitry family history. As Jonathan initiated the duel, the atmosphere crackled with tension. Chris, fueled by determination and perhaps a tinge of resentment, charged forward at Roman with unbridled ferocity. The clash of steel echoed through the training center as Chris unleashed a series of rapid strikes, each aimed at testing Roman's mettle. To the astonishment of onlookers, including fellow knights and instructors, Chris's speed was truly formidable. The brown-haired observer, who had initially dismissed Roman, now found himself reevaluating the situation. Perhaps this duel held more significance than he had anticipated. Jonathan, serving as the overseer of this unexpected contest, couldn't conceal his surprise as Roman skillfully blocked Chris's relentless assault. The clash of blades, the dance of precision and strength, left an indelible mark on the witnesses. Roman's defensive posture proved to be not only stable but also adept at withstanding the onslaught from Chris. As the initial shock settled, Chris, too, registered his own surprise. Backing away, he assessed the situation, recognizing the repulsive force emanating from Roman's hands. The defensive prowess displayed by Roman wasn't what Chris had expected. This realization, however, only fueled Chris's determination to beat Roman decisively. Undeterred, Chris gathered his resolve and charged at Roman with renewed vigor. Roman, seemingly possessing an uncanny ability to anticipate Chris's strikes, dodged with the grace of a seasoned swordsman. The ebb and flow of the duel painted a vivid picture of two skilled combatants locked in a dance of blades. Roman, not content with mere defense, shifted his stance and launched a counterattack. The fluidity of his movements left the onlookers in awe. Chris, determined to break through Roman's defenses, intensified his assault. Blow after blow, the clash of swords echoed through the training center. In a pivotal moment, Chris spotted what seemed like an opening, a chance to deliver a final decisive strike. Roman, however, proved to be one step ahead. Evading Chris' attack, Roman swiftly retaliated, his blade grazing Chris's head. The near miss sent shockwaves through the spectators, leaving them questioning the true extent of Roman's abilities. Baron Dimitry and Jonathan, observing the duel with keen interest, were equally taken aback. The knights, initially skeptical of Roman's prowess, couldn't deny the evidence before them. Roman's skill surpassed expectations, and Chris, the once confident vice-captain, found himself reassessing the situation. Chris, grappling with the realization that Roman possessed abilities far beyond his initial estimation, contemplated the potential consequences of defeat. However, a surge of pride and determination surged within him. There was no way he would allow himself to be bested by the so-called idiot of the Dimitry family, especially not in front of an audience. Gritting his teeth, Roman muttered to himself that it was just a warm-up. He declared that he would take the offensive, aiming to turn the tide in his favor. In the blink of an eye, Roman was about to strike, catching Chris off guard. However, Chris managed to block Roman's attack, though he couldn't shake off the feeling that Roman's speed had intensified. With an impressive display of speed and precision, Roman unleashed a relentless flurry of strikes. The other knights, witnessing this masterful demonstration, couldn't help but be impressed. In contrast, Chris found himself barely holding his ground against Roman's onslaught. The realization dawned on him, continuing at this rate would be perilous. Roman, seemingly in control of the duel, prepared for a decisive strike. In a daring move, he aimed to bring the duel to a swift conclusion. Chris, however, seized what he believed to be an opening. In a surge of determination, he lunged at Roman, intending to take him down. Yet Roman, with a smug smirk, effortlessly evaded Chris's attack. In that moment, Chris realized he had fallen into a carefully orchestrated trap. Roman, confident in his imminent victory, prepared for the final blow. In a surprising turn of events, Chris tapped into an unseen well of power, his aura. A surge of energy surrounded him as he unleashed a powerful sword aura, creating a dazzling explosion that captivated the attention of everyone present. Jonathan, realizing the potential danger, shouted for Chris to stop, but Chris was immersed in the fervor of battle and paid no heed, and fully strike Roman with his sword aura, which creates a huge explosion. To the shock of Baron Dimitry, Jonathan, and the assembled knights, Roman managed to evade the devastating strike by deftly ducking. The ensuing explosion, while impressive, left Roman unscathed. In a swift and decisive move, Roman seized the opportunity created by Chris' reckless maneuver. With a final well-timed strike, Roman brought Chris to his knees. The training center fell into stunned silence as the realization sunk in. Roman, the perceived fool of the Dimitry family, had emerged victorious over the formidable vice-captain of the Dimitry Knights. Jonathan, Baron Dimitry, and the other knights stood in awe of the unexpected outcome. The brown-haired observer, who had witnessed the entire spectacle unfold, now understood that Roman Dimitry was far more than meets the eye. The duel had not only shattered preconceptions but also established Roman as a force to be reckoned with within the Dimitry legacy. As the echoes of the duel lingered in the air, the training center bore witness to a transformative moment. Roman, once dismissed as an idiot, had emerged triumphant, rewriting the narrative of his capabilities and leaving an indelible mark on the history of the scene shifts to the past, where Chris finds himself engaged in a spirited sparring match with Jonathan, a scene that would later be etched in the memories of their fellow knights. The collective astonishment among the onlookers is palpable as Chris, at his tender age, not only manages to hold his ground against the seasoned Jonathan, but also attains the esteemed rank of a 2-star knight. The murmurs of surprise ripple through the assembly, echoing the disbelief at Chris's meteoric rise in the knightly hierarchy. Adding to the intrigue is the revelation that Chris's journey to a 1-star knight took a mere 3.5 years, a feat that defies the conventional timeline for such advancements. The whispers of the crowd betray a mix of admiration and curiosity, as they witness the unfolding spectacle of a prodigious talent making its mark on the knightly order. In the midst of the sparring match is when Chris, upon Jonathan's suggestion, takes a knee. However, what follows is a testament to Chris's unwavering determination and resilience. Rising promptly to his feet, he expresses a keen desire for yet another round. Jonathan, perceptive and impressed, recognizes in Chris not only natural aptitude, but also an unyielding work ethic, a combination that distinguishes him as more than a mere prodigy. Fast-forwarding to the present, the once revered swordsman, Chris, finds himself facing an unexpected challenge in the form of Roman. The disbelief etched on the faces of Jonathan and Roman Dimitry mirrors the shockwaves resonating through the knightly enclave. In a moment that challenges the established order, Roman, seemingly an inconspicuous troublemaker a month ago, emerges as a formidable adversary. Roman Dimitry, seeking clarification from Jonathan, inquires whether he had forewarned him about the significance of Deputy Knight Commander Chris, Jonathan's most prized 2-star aura knight. The revelation of Roman's prowess sends ripples of disbelief, challenging the preconceived notions of the onlookers. The skills displayed by Roman transcend the markers of a mere 1 or 2 years of training, hinting at a depth of experience and dedication that defies expectation. Jonathan, with a measured demeanor, dismisses the surprise of his comrades, attributing Roman's extraordinary skills to an innate genius. He points to the fusion of natural talent and relentless work ethic as the catalyst propelling Roman's rapid advancement. While Chris's skills remain commendable, Jonathan acknowledges Roman's unique prowess, labeling him a genius in his own right. Roman, in his assessment, believes that Chris possesses the capability to single-handedly dismantle the notorious Blood Fang gang. The juxtaposition of standards within the order becomes apparent as Jonathan beams with pride for Chris, considering him a skilled warrior by their measures. Yet Roman, with a discerning eye, places Chris at the bottom of his own stringent hierarchy. Despite Roman's initial disbelief at Chris's actions, Roman Dimitry breaks into applause, reveling in the realization that his eldest son is, indeed, a genius in the realm of sword skills. Turning to Jonathan for reassurance, Roman Dimitry seeks confirmation of the revelation, expressing immense joy at the recognition of the latent potential within his progeny. In this revelation, Roman Dimitry finds a profound sense of pride and contentment, grateful for the genius that Chris undeniably embodies. In a moment of triumph and pride, Roman's father beckons him forth and expresses unparalleled happiness at the accomplishment his son has achieved independently. Overflowing with admiration, he commends Roman's success and extends an invitation to applaud the young man for his remarkable feat. Roman's father, exuding a sense of paternal pride, assures his son that a fitting reward awaits him and encourages Roman to articulate any desire he may harbor. With a sly smirk, Roman, cognizant of his impending departure for the battlefield, asserts to his father that rather than seeking exemption from enlistment, he wishes for the autonomy to select his own comrades. The unexpected nature of this request leaves Roman's father visibly surprised. Seeking clarity, Roman's father questions the rationale behind this peculiar choice, given the considerable time remaining before Roman must depart for the battlefield. In response, Roman elucidates his desire for independence in choosing his own team, a sentiment rooted in his belief that such a privilege would be paramount for his success on the impending mission. Acknowledging the gravity of Roman's request, his father acquiesces, conferring upon him the authority to assemble his own team. Roman expresses his gratitude, but there remains one final matter on his mind. Seizing the opportunity, Roman addresses his father with a final request, one that carries the weight of future decisions. Roman's father, attuned to the significance of this moment, assures Roman that as long as he continues to demonstrate the caliber witnessed in his recent achievement, there shall be no grounds for refusal. The scene transitions to Chris's room, where shock washes over him upon learning that Roman wishes to be instructed in the art of aura manipulation. Stunned, Chris turns to Jonathan, expressing his disbelief at the audacity of such a request. Jonathan, unfazed, informs Chris that this directive comes directly from the Lord, emphasizing its non-negotiable nature. Struggling to reconcile the notion of imparting aura knowledge to the very individual he recently engaged in combat, Chris protests, recounting his futile attempt to counter Roman's skillful maneuvers. Chris, desiring nothing more than to retreat into obscurity, finds himself at odds with Jonathan's insistence on undertaking the responsibility of teaching Roman the intricacies of aura manipulation. In an attempt to assuage Chris's reservations, Jonathan proposes an offer that captures Chris's attention, prompting his eyes to widen in curiosity. Jonathan, with a solemn gaze, approaches Chris and expresses a unique proposition: to teach the young master Roman and discern the nuances that set him apart. This request comes with a promise that, should Chris successfully navigate this task, Jonathan pledges to unveil all his closely guarded secrets to him. The weight of this offer leaves Chris visibly stunned, prompting him to seek confirmation on the sincerity behind Jonathan's words. In response to Chris's incredulous inquiry, Jonathan affirms the seriousness of his proposal. He articulates that, in the event of Chris accomplishing the assigned task, the coveted knowledge required to ascend to the esteemed rank of a 3-star aura knight will be divulged. The gravity of this pledge hangs in the air as Chris, grappling with the implications, bites his lip in contemplation before ultimately accepting Jonathan's offer. The scene transitions to Roman's chamber, where his butler brings tidings of the castle abuzz with rumors of Roman's extraordinary victory over the deputy knight commander. Roman, contemplating the aftermath of his recent triumph, quizzes his butler on the concept of aura. The butler, candidly admitting his lack of knowledge, suggests that it might be akin to the ability to manipulate mana. Roman, drawing from his experiences in the realm of Mirim, perceives a disparity in the terminologies. While the energy demonstrated by Chris is recognized as a surge of power in Mirim, the local reference to it as aura strikes him as somewhat inefficient. Roman contemplates the divergence in the utilization of energy, concluding that the inhabitants of this realm may benefit from a deeper understanding of the powers they wield. Anticipating the upcoming training session with Chris, Roman resolves to investigate firsthand the intricacies of aura manipulation in this unfamiliar land. The stage is set for a collision of knowledge and perspectives. The narrative shifts outdoors, where Roman and Chris stand facing each other. A subtle smile graces Roman's face, eliciting a surge of irritation from Chris. Managing to quell his rising frustration, Chris decides to lay the groundwork before delving into their training session. With a composed demeanor, he begins to enlighten Roman on the intricacies of aura. Chris elucidates that aura is a specialized manifestation of mana, specifically tailored for the utilization by knights. In contrast to magicians who channel mana through circlets, knights store this potent energy throughout their bodies. The historical luminary in the realm of aura was Emperor Alexandro, credited with the groundbreaking insight that disseminating stored mana across the body could fortify one's physical prowess. Aura then becomes the act of projecting this accumulated mana outward, concentrating and releasing it for a surge in power. Acknowledging the historical context, Chris assures Roman that the arcane origins of mana are not paramount for their immediate endeavor. Instead, he steers the conversation towards the rarity of individuals who can harness mana effectively. Approximately 1 in 1,000 men choose the path of an aura knight, while a mere 1 in tens of thousands can traverse the intricate route of a magician. The pivotal initial step for an aspiring aura knight is the ability to sense mana, a hurdle most fail to surmount. Chris reflects on his own journey, recounting that it took him about half a year to develop this sensory capability, a time frame considered commendable, given that many take more than a year to achieve even basic mana perception. Here, innate talent emerges as a decisive factor. Roman, absorbing this newfound knowledge, expresses eagerness to commence training with a focus on mana sensing. Intrigued, he queries Chris about the methodology employed in honing this skill. Chris willingly agrees to share his insights, contemplating the latent pride Roman might harbor after triumphing over him in their recent match. However, Chris cautions Roman that their training won't be as straightforward as Roman perceives. Proficiency in swordsmanship, which Roman has demonstrated, differs significantly from talent in mana manipulation. The impending reality check, Chris hints, will reveal the nuanced challenges that lie ahead. Unbeknownst to Roman, the premise of their aura training might require recalibration. Considering Roman's existing awareness of mana sensing and his exposure to the teachings of the Heavenly Demon Magician, in the pursuit of mastery, Roman harbors a conviction that relying solely on his existing knowledge is a shortcut to degradation. Even in the face of tasks whose rationale eludes his comprehension, Roman acknowledges the necessity of familiarizing himself with the processes before him. Chris, a mentor of sorts, advises Roman to attune himself to the cadence of his breath and to focus intently, emphasizing the importance of sensory awareness regarding every point of contact with Roman's body. A crucial juncture arises as Roman begins to channel mana into a singular focal point within his body, the precursor to manifesting what is known as aura. It becomes apparent that Roman's initial struggles with the process yield results as his aura materializes. Yet a twist awaits, confounding expectations. In the mind of Chris, the mentor, Roman's manifestation of aura signifies the attainment of a 1-star aura knight status. However, to Chris's astonishment, Roman's entire being is enveloped in a fiery aura, surpassing the anticipated outcome. Roman, in his introspective musings, deems the conventional method of harnessing ki in Mirim, wherein waste is purged to facilitate the storage of ki within the body, as inadequate for this new world. Here, the gathering of mana and its natural diffusion throughout the body contrasts sharply with the Mirim approach. In this realm, mana, while abundant, is lighter and more prone to escaping the corporeal form. The disparity extends to the methods employed by the denizens of this world, including Chris, whose utilization of aura mirrors Mirim's external arts in training the physique, but lacks efficacy in mana retention. The inefficiency of a sword that releases stored mana further underscores the divergent principles at play. Roman, discerning the limitations of this world's techniques, foresees a protracted training regimen yielding little progress. His skepticism is met with incredulity from Chris, who questions the ease with which Roman achieved what took him over a decade to accomplish. In the face of Chris's inquiry, Roman bursts into laughter. The mentor, puzzled, confronts Roman about the apparent mockery of his earnest efforts. In a pivotal exchange between Roman and Chris, Roman raises a thought-provoking question. Amidst Chris's relentless pursuit of his goals, has he ever critically assessed the efficacy of his chosen training methods? The query leaves Chris visibly shocked, prompting him to seek clarification from Roman. Roman, in response, delves into the common tendency of individuals to unquestioningly embrace traditional, inherited training methods as the optimal approach. As Roman learns aura manipulation from Chris, a contemplative air surrounds him. He wonders aloud why people remain fixated on these established methods despite their evident flaws. Is it rooted in ignorance, or is it a testament to Chris's unwavering faith in Captain Jonathan? These reflections underscore Roman's discerning nature and his inclination to question the status quo. Roman succinctly articulates that the simplicity of teaching these established methods contributes to their perpetuation. The reluctance to expose individuals to potential failure or criticism becomes a driving force behind the continuation of such practices. While acknowledging the importance of Chris's decade-long training, Roman points out the irony that Chris never once questioned the methods employed during this extensive period. This realization becomes the source of Roman's amusement, visible in his subtle laughter at Chris's expense. Undeterred by Chris's astonishment, Roman continues his discourse, passing by him with a conviction that there is no perfect answer in the world. He emphasizes that even the methods he, himself, has chosen to follow were born out of a single individual's concerns for their successors. This revelation highlights the intrinsic link between tradition and the well-intentioned worries of those who paved the way. In a philosophical turn, Roman explores the notion that these worries are the root cause of pain in life. Confronting challenges and criticisms during moments of failure becomes the crucible for personal growth. Yet Roman argues change is essential, drawing parallels to his own life, where he rejected his father's teachings to forge an individual path. As the conversation unfolds, Roman proposes they conclude their training, prompting Chris to seek guidance on his future endeavors. Then Chris asks Roman to tell him what he should do from now on here. The narrative then takes a poignant detour into Roman's past life. A vivid memory emerges where Roman triumphs over a formidable warrior. In the aftermath of the intense encounter, Baek Joong-Hyuk, also known as Roman, sought out the warrior who had faced him in battle. With a blend of curiosity and inquiry, Roman questioned the warrior's intent to persist in retaliation. The warrior, however, humbly acknowledged his defeat and revealed that the Blood Demon sect, under his command, would now align itself with John of the Heavenly Demon sect. In a moment of candid reflection, the warrior admitted to Roman, or Baek Joong-Hyuk, that this was the first occasion he had encountered someone as formidable as John. Sensing an opportunity for guidance, the warrior posed a question similar to the one previously asked by Chris of Roman. What steps must I take to attain the strength you embody, Joong-Hyuk? In a profound declaration, the warrior expressed his commitment to Joong-Hyuk, proclaiming a decision to dedicate his life to the formidable warrior. The warrior emphasized the mutual benefits that could be derived from his own journey towards greater strength. In a fervent plea, he implored Joong-Hyuk to share the wisdom and counsel needed for his progression. The scene seamlessly shifts back to the present, where Roman discerns a similar warrior spirit in Chris. Recognizing that Chris has willingly set aside his pride to pursue strength, Roman finds the unfolding dynamics in this world intriguing. His subtle smirk reveals a growing fascination with Chris's journey and the evolving complexities of their shared narrative. In a moment of earnest conversation, Roman countered Chris's revelation by expressing his reluctance to divulge such information. Chris, undeterred, inquired about what Roman desired him to do instead. Roman clarified that he simply advised Chris to break away from the ingrained methods he had adhered to throughout his life. He emphasized that offering a direct answer would only replicate the life choices Chris had made thus far. However, Roman proposed an alternative approach. He suggested that if Chris wished to seek answers firsthand, he should shadow Roman and glean insights from observing his actions. This unexpected proposition left Chris visibly surprised. Roman further disclosed his imminent departure for war in 6 months, urging Chris to closely observe how he confronted various adversaries and triumphed over challenges. Roman encouraged Chris to scrutinize the diverse strategies employed in overcoming foes. In a final compelling statement, Roman outlined a long-term commitment. He challenged Chris to follow him for a decade and witness the evolution of his strength. Roman asserted that by the end of this period, Chris sat in his room, overwhelmed with a sense of melancholy. Memories flooded his mind, particularly those of his days as a trainee knight alongside Jonathan. Back then, he had worked hard to earn the title of a 2-star knight. However, after a conversation with Roman, uncertainty clouded Chris's thoughts, leaving him grappling with the question of what to do next. In a later meeting with Jonathan at the office, Chris decided to open up about his dilemma. He expressed his intention to resign from the knighthood and join Roman on the battlefield, driven by a desire to grow stronger. Jonathan was taken aback by this revelation, sensing that there was more to Chris's decision than met the eye. Chris confirmed that something had indeed happened, prompting Jonathan to carefully consider the gravity of Chris's choice. Acknowledging the weight behind Chris's decision, Jonathan conveyed his understanding. He informed Chris that henceforth he would no longer be affiliated with the Knights of Dimitry. Despite the separation, Jonathan expressed his hope that Chris would protect young Master Roman in his pursuit of strength. Grateful for everything, Chris thanked Jonathan, who reflected on the transformation of the once grieving child he had found on the battlefield. Jonathan, recognizing the evolution in Chris, stood up and shared his conviction that even Chris choosing to follow young Master Roman signified Roman's growth. He assured Chris that Roman was no longer the foolhardy noble Jonathan had once known. Urging Chris into another room, Jonathan emphasized the necessity for Chris to prepare himself for the challenges ahead. To survive on the battlefield, Jonathan believed Chris needed a unique skill, a secret weapon he could call his own. Chris gets happy hearing this. The news of Roman's prowess spread beyond the confines of their meeting. People in the market discussed how Roman, once considered a mediocre noble, had single-handedly defeated the formidable Blood Fang. Kevin, overhearing this, couldn't believe that Roman had accomplished such a feat. He wondered if Roman had done it to fulfill his promise to Kevin, though skepticism lingered. Despite the revelation, Kevin's boss snapped him back to reality, reminding him to focus on his work. In the face of uncertainty and change, Kevin clutched the box tightly, the weight of it mirroring the burning determination in his eyes. In that quiet moment, he found himself contemplating a profound desire, the aspiration to embody the strength and resilience he saw in young Master Roman, to become a force formidable enough to shield those around him, to be a protector in a world still haunted by threats like the ominous Blood Fang. For Kevin, the path forward demanded strength, a strength he believed he lacked but desperately needed to acquire to safeguard his family from the unpredictable dangers of their existence. As he ambled along, absorbed in his thoughts, Kevin's eyes widened with shock. There, standing before him, was young Master Roman. The unexpected encounter left Kevin bewildered, his mind struggling to comprehend why Roman would be in this place at this time. A sense of awe washed over Kevin, and without a second thought, he found himself instinctively bowing before the young master. Gratitude poured from Kevin's words as he thanked Roman for the intervention that had allowed his family to persevere through challenging times. Roman, always composed, responded with a calm reassurance. He encouraged Kevin not to dwell on the past and inquired about Kevin's well-being. Kevin, in turn, shared the positive changes that had unfolded in his life after the confrontation with the Blood Fang. The threats had ceased, and he had found gainful employment through the assistance of Marhants. Kevin was grateful for the turn of events but struggled to find words adequate enough to express his profound gratitude to young Master Roman. In response, Roman, with a calm and collected demeanor, extended an unexpected offer. If Kevin were to accept, Roman pledged not only to alleviate the financial burdens that weighed heavily on Kevin's family, but also to elevate their standard of living to one of comfort and abundance. He promised Kevin a life far removed from the toil of his current employment, where leisure time would be marked by luxury rather than the grind of daily work. Roman assured Kevin that he was fully committed to making this transformation a reality, provided Kevin reciprocated with a pledge of unwavering loyalty. Kevin found himself grappling with the enormity of Roman's proposition. A life beyond his wildest dreams hung tantalizingly before him, contingent upon his allegiance to young Master Roman. Roman painted a vivid picture of a future where Kevin's family need not worry about financial struggles, where their days would be marked by security and opulence. The allure of such a life was undeniable, and yet the commitment required gave Kevin pause. In a moment of solemn determination, Kevin lowered his head to the floor, a symbolic act of acceptance that signaled his commitment to Roman's terms. He pledged not only his service but his very life to young Master Roman. In his earnest devotion, Kevin swore to follow any command issued by Roman, even if it meant facing death. The only condition, Roman's solemn promise to safeguard Kevin's family, an assurance that Kevin's fate was now irrevocably intertwined with Roman's will. Observing this display of unwavering loyalty, Roman couldn't help but smile. Kevin's commitment, sealed with his own blood, evoked memories of a wild stallion from Roman's past, a creature untamed, relentless, and fiercely loyal. The image also conjured thoughts of the Blood Demon, a formidable warrior whose fervor mirrored Kevin's own. Roman sensed that in Kevin he had found a kindred spirit, someone who, like the crazed stallion and the Blood Demon, would prove to be an invaluable asset in the times to come. With a satisfied smile, Roman formally declared that, from that moment onward, Kevin's life belonged to him. The pact was sealed, and Roman anticipated that Kevin's loyalty would be an investment well worth the effort. The narrative pivots to the resplendent palace where Roman, the master of this regal domain, confides in Hans, his venerable butler. Roman divulges the story of Kevin, the novice in their midst, entrusting Hans with the pivotal role of aiding Kevin in navigating the opulent yet unfamiliar intricacies of life within the palace walls. In a gesture of benevolence, Roman assures Kevin of his imminent return, leaving the newcomer to express profound gratitude for the unforeseen turn of events. Before Roman departs, he imparts a directive to Kevin, guiding him to the library should he require any assistance. Kevin, grappling with the magnitude of the moment, sincerely thanks Roman for his unparalleled generosity. Roman proceeds to the sanctuary of knowledge that is the library, leaving Kevin under the watchful guidance of Hans, the stalwart custodian of the estate. Within the hallowed halls of the library, Roman delves into the profound teachings of a tome delineating the path of an aura knight. The text unfurls the intricate stages of ascending within the ranks of this prestigious order, with the embodiment of aura serving as the hallmark of progression. The mere glimmer of aura designates one as a modest 1-star aura knight. Advancement to the esteemed 2-star rank requires the demonstration of the ability to cut through steel using the ethereal force of aura. The intensity and strength of this manifested aura become the benchmarks that determine an individual's rank. Ascending to the revered status of a 3-star aura knight places one beyond the comprehension of ordinary mortals, warranting exclusive treatment within the kingdom's hierarchy. As Roman immerses himself in the illuminating pages of the book, the narrative unfolds the elusive lore of the 6-star knights. Whispers of their existence, said to dwell within the mythical Salamander continent, echo through the ages. Astonishingly, tales of individuals attaining the fabled 7th-star rank remain shrouded in mystery. Even among the illustrious top 10 ranked knights, few have managed to ascend to the exalted 6th star. In Roman's discerning eyes, the prowess displayed by a 2-star knight, exemplified by the formidable Chris, and even the esteemed Jonathan, a 3-star knight, appears diminutive compared to the awe-inspiring might of those at the 6th star. Roman contemplates the ethereal flames these elite knights conjure from their blades, spanning tens of meters with impacts that transcend the realm of mortal understanding. The narrative introduces the enigmatic 12 blades of the continent, a pantheon of individuals who have achieved the mythical 6-star rank. Irrespective of race or nationality, these 12 knights are revered as if they were royalty. Armed with the information gleaned, Roman acknowledges the formidable nature of these knights, astutely recognizing that their ascent to such extraordinary heights with what he deems as inefficient usage of ki signifies an innate and unparalleled talent. Roman's ruminations gracefully say into contemplation of magicians, particularly those who ascend to the 7th circle rank and are honored with the prestigious title of archmage. These enigmatic beings, perceived as a fusion of mortal and divine, embody a walking cataclysm, their power waiting to be unleashed upon the world. These archmages are more dangerous than the 6-star aura knights. Roman thinks that magic abilities don't exist within Murim, and now Roman thinks he has a pretty good idea of what to do. Roman thinks he won't know when he will be facing these beings, and while it will be rare that old man Dimitry will do something risky, the fact that he can't predict what might happen is what makes this dangerous for Roman. As someone inherently restless, never destined to remain confined like others, Roman contemplates the need to amass experiences, to carve out a life that satisfies his intrinsic desires, even if it involves navigating the treacherous waters of magic. Excitement courses through Roman as he envisions the adventures that await him in this uncharted territory. The scene shifts to a room, a hallowed space where Roman and Hans make their entrance. Hans, the ever-efficient butler, unveils the room's history as a workshop once utilized by the old baron. Hans, meticulous as always, took measures to ensure strict prohibition against outsiders, going to the extent of preventing the passage of air. Roman, discerning the potential of this secluded space, deems it the ideal locale for honing his newfound magical prowess. Expressing his intent to dedicate the upcoming week to rigorous magical training, Roman assures Hans that he won't require sustenance during this period. A steely gaze accompanies Roman's request for absolute privacy. He instructs Hans to permit no one to enter, emphasizing that interruptions are only permissible if Roman's people face imminent danger. Hans, understanding the gravity of the directive, nods affirmatively, leaves the room, and firmly seals the door behind him, leaving Roman in his mystical sanctuary. Within the confines of this room, Roman surveys the straw scattered on the floor, a well-intentioned but disruptive addition by Hans. Appreciating the gesture, Roman recognizes that it disrupts the flow of ki, the life force energy. Setting the straw aside, Roman settles onto the floor, assuming a meditative posture. The intention is to commence the journey towards mastering the techniques of the Heavenly Demon Magician, a path fraught with challenges and revelations. Roman initiates the creation of an aura around him, a critical step to expel impurities from his body and attune himself to the magical energies that lie dormant within. However, the process takes an unexpected turn, marked by the emergence of blood from Roman's face. The mana, the essence of magical power coursing through his body, encounters impediments, revealing an unusual concentration of impurities. Roman, anticipating this challenge, remains unfazed, understanding that it's a necessary phase to gather the minimum mana required to progress to the next stage. The room becomes a crucible of determination as Roman grapples with the consequences of his magical pursuit. The act of bleeding becomes symbolic, a testament to the purification process underway. Roman's resilience shines through as he navigates the turbulent currents of mana, resolving to reclaim his original strength by gathering the essential energies required to traverse the mystical path before him. The stage is set for Roman's odyssey into the mystical unknown, as he seeks to harness the powers that lie dormant within him. The current stage of his journey, a relentless pursuit to reclaim the strength of the Heavenly Demon, marks only the inception of what lies ahead. Fast forward a week, and the scene unfolds in Dimitri's palace. Viscount Lawrence, accompanied by his daughter Flora, has arrived to meet Roman. Seeking information on Roman's whereabouts, the servant informs them that he is currently occupied with pressing matters. Despite the potential discomfort stemming from their unannounced visit, they are directed to the living room to await Roman. As they settle in, Viscount Lawrence, perceptive of the underlying tensions, reflects on the palpable reluctance emanating from the Dimitry household. Anticipating a meeting laden with tension, Viscount Lawrence takes a moment to caution Flora. He emphasizes the need for circumspection and restraint in her words and actions, especially in light of her recent decision to disengage from Roman. Flora, acknowledging the gravity of the situation, affirms her understanding of her father's counsel. The narrative then shifts to the Lawrence palace, where Flora had earlier divulged her decision to sever ties with Roman. Viscount Lawrence, upon hearing this revelation, is taken aback. He expresses disbelief in his daughter's seemingly impulsive action, questioning her about her understanding of the intricate dynamics within their territory. Flora, initially resolute, asserts the Lawrence family's strength and resilience, implying that they can weather any storm without the Dimitry alliance. However, Viscount Lawrence provides a stark reality check. He lays bare the complex web of political intrigue surrounding their territory. The Barco family, having borrowed extensively from the gold bank, now stands as a formidable adversary. In response, Viscount Lawrence strategically aligned with the Dimitry family, recognizing them as the only ones capable of fending off the impending threat from Barco. Flora's abrupt disengagement jeopardizes this crucial alliance. The conflict, Viscount Lawrence elucidates, has transcended familial disputes. Political machinations involving dubious documents and orders, coupled with support for the Barco family, paint a grim picture. The central government's involvement signals a conspiracy that extends far beyond the scale of a mere familial feud. Viscount Lawrence impresses upon Flora the gravity of their situation, extending to the potential loss of land, honor, and even Flora herself, the cherished flower of Lawrence. Flora, confronted with the harsh realities, is left in a state of shock. Returning to the present, Flora reflects on her willful ignorance and acknowledges that her selfish motivations led her to ignore the dire circumstances facing their territory. She recognizes the urgency to cast aside the pride associated with being the flower of Lawrence and confront the reality that persists outside the bubble of her own desires. The narrative then shifts back to the Baron's location, where Roman, the central figure in this intricate drama, is engrossed in rigorous training. The butler, a figure of concern and responsibility, grapples with the dilemma of whether to approach Roman. Viscount Lawrence and Lady Flora have been waiting since morning, and the day has now transitioned into evening. The butler contemplates breaking Roman's solitude, but a recollection of Roman's explicit instruction not to disturb him restrains any impulsive action. As Hans the butler navigates this internal struggle, the door unexpectedly swings open, revealing the figure of the young master Roman. Hans, startled yet relieved, stands witness to Roman's emergence from his seclusion. Returning to the living room, Baron Lawrence and his daughter Flora find themselves in a state of heightened anticipation as they await Roman's arrival. The room, thick with tension, bears witness to the unfolding drama that has roots in Flora's earlier misstep. Baron Lawrence, contemplating the chain of events set into motion by his daughter's mistake, recognizes the imperative of ensuring the survival of the Lawrence family. In his eyes, the marriage between Roman and Flora stands as a strategic move to secure their position. However, a disquieting feeling gnaws at him, and unable to contain his frustration, he abruptly rises from his seat. Voicing his dissatisfaction, he asserts that he will personally seek out Baron Dimitry, determined to address the perceived injustice. Stepping into Baron Dimitry's office with an air of palpable anger, Baron Lawrence doesn't mince words. He questions the prolonged delay and expresses disbelief at what he perceives as Dimitry's cruelty. Baron Dimitry, maintaining a composed demeanor, acknowledges the sentiments but probes whether an appointment had been scheduled for the meeting. Flora's father conveys that although their visit was unannounced, they had communicated their intention to meet Dimitry a week ago. He further explains that the impetus behind this unexpected visit is Roman's refusal to respond to their requests and the ensuing lack of communication. In response, Baron Dimitry, his expression serious and composed, queries whether Lawrence's grievance is solely about the wait and if he has come solely to express discontent over the delay. However, before Baron Lawrence can respond, Dimitry discloses a crucial piece of information that casts a new light on the situation. On the day Flora Lawrence visited the Dimitry family, Roman had already informed his father about his intention to break off the arranged marriage. While Baron Dimitry scolded Roman for his decision, he recognized the underlying dynamics. He reveals that it was apparent, even to a 3-year-old, that Flora was the reason behind Roman's desire to terminate the arranged marriage. This revelation adds a layer of complexity to the situation. Acknowledging the sensitive nature of the circumstance, Baron Dimitry chose not to question Roman further. Having experienced the unwanted imposition of an arranged marriage himself, Dimitry understood the complexities involved. To him, it seemed ironic that the Lawrences, who had initiated the arranged marriage, were now oblivious to their own role in the unfolding drama. Despite Dimitry's reluctance to meet in the first place, the Lawrences, seemingly unaware of their own missteps, came to him with complaints. Faced with this unexpected disclosure, Baron Lawrence finds himself without a retort. Baron Dimitry underscores the Lawrence family's oversight in their own actions, emphasizing that his anger over a short wait pales in comparison to the Lawrences' ignorance of their own mistakes. Then Baron Dimitry tells them that about a month ago they received contact from the Barco family, and if they decided to move forward with an arranged marriage with the Barco family instead of the Lawrence family, and even the Barco family would give Dimitry a chance to make connections with the central government and give them part of the Lawrence territory. Even then, Baron Dimitry still decided to decline the Barco family offer and then asked the Viscount Dimitrance, does he know the reason why he decided to do that? Viscount Lawrence asked Baron Dimitry why he declined the offer, as it would have been more advantageous for them to take Barco's offer from their perspective. In response, Baron Dimitry, maintaining a straightforward demeanor, explained that the reason was simple. Despite the potential benefits of aligning with the Barco family, Dimitry, with an already established source of power, opted for the option that aligned with his personal preferences. Dimitry disclosed a crucial factor that influenced his decision: the admiration of the eldest son of the Dimitry family for the flower of Lawrence. It was this sentiment that propelled Dimitry into a conflict with the Barco family, a decision he now viewed as a mistake. Viscount Lawrence, reflecting on the situation, realized the gravity of his own actions driven by anger. Recognizing the magnitude of his mistake, he grappled with the consequences and contemplated the next steps. Baron Dimitry, unapologetically, pointed out the apparent mismatch between the flower of Lawrence and the fool of the Dimitry. Despite this, he emphasized that the Lawrence family should have remembered the essence of the Dimitry name. According to Dimitry, once the Dimitry family's name was associated with Roman, his value underwent a significant transformation. Furthermore, Dimitry questioned the desperation behind the push for this marriage, subtly shifting the perspective to highlight the Lawrence family's eagerness. In response to Dimitry's pointed queries, Flora Lawrence found her thoughts drifting back to her days at the academy. In that environment where children from royal families congregated to build knowledge and relationships, she recalled a peculiar figure, a child from the Joel family. The Joel family, a small and seemingly inconspicuous entity, existed more in name than in substance. Flora vividly remembered an incident when Joel, making a minor mistake, became the subject of an orchestrated punishment committee. While other children faced negligible consequences for their errors, Joel's situation escalated. Flora witnessed teachers scolding Joel, and a man, presumably his father, appeared to apologize on his behalf. The father pleaded for forgiveness and vowed to personally instruct his son. Flora, observing from the sidelines, couldn't shake the feeling of sadness at the unfolding scene. Returning to the present, Flora found a wry sense of amusement in her reflection on those bygone days. The contrast between the gravity of the present situation and the seemingly trivial incidents from her past struck her as ironic. Observing the head of the Lawrence family apologizing to the Dimitrys on her behalf, Flora reflects on a past memory involving Joel, a member of a seemingly weak family who faced apologies and repercussions. This memory prompts Flora to draw parallels between Joel's perceived weakness then and the Lawrence family's current situation. In her perspective, this world adheres to a principle where the weak bow down to the strong. As the Lawrences offer apologies, Flora contemplates the dynamics at play, recognizing the inevitability of submission in a world driven by strength. The door opens, revealing Roman, who has undergone a striking transformation with newly dyed purple hair, exuding a cool aura. The surprise is palpable among those present in the room. Roman approaches his father, and an inquiry follows about his completion of training. Roman confirms the completion but defers the discussion to a later time. However, his father redirects attention to the Lawrence family's visit regarding the arranged marriage matter, prompting raised eyebrows from Roman. Roman's father conveys a decision to follow Roman's lead as the head of Dimitry and his father. Roman acknowledges the weight of this decision, understanding the potential consequences of uniting the two families. The conversation turns to Roman's initial decision to proceed with the marriage, prompting an inquiry about his motivations. Roman explains that initially he believed there was value in that decision. However, his perspective shifted upon meeting Flora on the first day. Learning about her reservations regarding the arranged marriage altered Roman's thoughts. He surmises that Flora likely heard rumors about the perceived foolishness associated with the Dimitry family. Recognizing that public opinion might not reflect his true character, Roman expresses his desire to share his life with someone who judges him based on personal interactions. Therefore, Roman asserts his decision to break off the marriage, advocating for no changes to occur. In this moment, Roman's stance crystallizes, grounded in a newfound understanding shaped by personal connections and genuine sentiments.